Technology, and in this we've seen, especially in the context of COVID, it's been a boon, I would say, and certainly COVID has put a spotlight on that. But technology is both also dependent on and also has an impact on socio-economic development. Now, as the chairman of the Supreme Court of India's E-Committee and a proponent of digitization, what is your perspective on the impact of unequal access to technology and your thoughts on digitization of judicial processes across India?
Uh, Let me share with you, before I go into the nitty-gritty of your question, two abiding pieces of imagery, which I think would never leave my mind of conducting court. In fact, I conduct court sitting right here on the video platform every day. And my two colleagues, Justice Malhotra, Indu Malhotra, and Justice Indira Banerjee, are in their chambers, and we are all linked on the screen and we hear arguments. But the two abiding images which I have is an image of a young lawyer for the state arguing before me a couple of months ago. And as she was arguing, I could hear a baby crying in the background. And I just felt this was so tremendously empowering. And it was inspiring for me as a judge. I felt I was inspired by this young lawyer sitting in our house, sitting in our apartment, addressing the Supreme Court of India on a very crucial issue of labor welfare, and in charge of her baby. And another thing which happened 2 days ago, and this was a man who was addressing a male lawyer who was addressing us. And while he's addressing us, there's some little voice comes in the background, and you have suddenly this pink dress which comes and floats into the screen. And he was extremely apologetic. He said, "I'm so sorry." And so I said, "Is that your child?" He says, "Yes, I'm doing some babysitting as well." So he said, "Let's come and let's talk to your child as well." So these two, of a woman and one of a man, online in court, arguing serious issues of law and fact before us, but able to look after their families in this time of very, very serious public health crisis. I think these are the two abiding images. Going back now to your question, after the lockdown was declared on the 23rd of March, the Supreme Court started functioning completely on the virtual platform. We have 17,000 courts in India. We have 3,200 and odd, 3,300 court establishments. Every one of our courts had to go online because otherwise justice would have had to shut down. And thanks to technology, we were able to avoid a chaos on matters of personal liberty, where somebody who requires bail, whose personal liberty is involved, has to be heard that very moment. And our courts were able to deal with that challenge. To give you just one estimate of the figures, from the 23rd of March till the 19th of August, actually I have even current figures, the Supreme Court has taken up about 15,996 cases, almost 16,000 cases, and disposed of 4,300 cases. This is a tremendous feat for a court of our dimension. We constituted about 1,000 benches of the Supreme Court. 50,000 lawyers have participated in our hearings during the course of the proceedings. The district judiciary in India, 2 million cases were filed during this period, and they have disposed of almost 925,000 cases during the period of the pandemic. We have now in India what we call the National Judicial Data Grid, which is a data repository of every court in India. And the NJDG, as we call it, it holds data of 4.5 million cases, which are pending before the high courts. It also holds data of 33.6 million cases, which are pending before the district courts, and of all the cases which have been disposed of since the NJDG was set up. Now, technology is enormously empowering. One of the areas where we have really experimented very successfully, particularly in Delhi, is in setting up virtual courts. So the petty traffic offenses are now being dealt with entirely by virtual courts in Delhi. And as many as 2.7 million traffic tickets have been handled by these courts. And about 1.2 billion rupees has been collected by way of fine by the virtual courts. Now, that just shows you what technology has done to us. Technology has really empowered. Going into really the quality of justice, I believe technology has been a great leveler, particularly for young lawyers and particularly for women. And I see a lot more women participating in the proceedings before the Supreme Court of India. Court proceedings are not, it's difficult for a woman otherwise, because you may not know what time your case is going to be called out. You might have to spend the whole day in a court and your case may not be called out necessarily. When you're online, you know that, well, this is my slot to argue the case. And I find a lot of young women who are now approaching the Supreme Court, arguing across the country. We have lawyers from all over India addressing us in the course of the pandemic. Having said that, there is a problem which we have, and which is the technological divide. Not everyone in India has a smartphone. Not everyone in India has access to the internet. So just as we have depended on technology to deliver justicing services to common citizens, we are equally cognizant of the fact that access to technology is not uniform. So our answer to that is that we are now trying to take technology to the doorstep of our common citizens by ensuring that in every court complex in India, we provide an e-resource center, and these have already started coming up, where basic facilities for digital literacy, for access to the internet, in terms of e-filing facilities, video conferencing facilities would be available. All our jails, for instance, in India have video conferencing facilities. So the jails are connected to the courts. So if a prisoner has to be produced before the court for remand applications, for instance, that can be done on the video platform. The first remand is, of course, always desired to be in the physical form, where you want to know whether the prisoner has been unfairly treated. So having talked about the virtues of technology, we also need to understand that in a country like ours, technology also is suffering from a great divide. But having said that, I still believe that technology is a tremendous source of empowerment. Equally, a lot of children have had to drop out of school because of want of access to technology. And when they drop out of school, they have to go back to the labor force. So these are some of the sobering lessons which we have learned as well from the pandemic. But there's no going back from our use of technology. And if at all, the pandemic has taught us that technology is going to participate. We're going to participate in the court processes through the use of technology in a very big way. Some of our high courts have also started live streaming their proceedings. The Gujarat High Court recently started live streaming their proceedings. That's a work in progress. It's something which is really at the experimental stage at this present point of time. But all in all, I think the pandemic has provided an enormous opportunity to us to reform what was essentially a structure which was creaking at its hinges. And technology has given us a new avenue for making ourselves into a more modern and efficient judiciary in India.